morning.
I'm just curious that obviously a lot of people know you mostly from Overwatch, and I just want to know how you feel that the fandom for that's still going after all this time and how far it's taken you.
I am still so blown away by the whole experience of recording Overwatch into it becoming the thing that it became. And part of that for me personally, and I know for a lot of the actors who were in it, is just the love from the community surrounding the game, but also just surrounding games in general. I've done TV, theater, film, all of that, but I've never met quite so supportive a community as the gaming community. And I fell madly in love with them thanks to Overwatch. So I think one of the other things that I love about that community that's based around the game is that they aren't necessarily all players. Everybody knows the lore. It has a way in because Blizzard enabled them to have it by creating the comic books and creating the cinematics and all of the short stories. So even if for whatever reason you can't play the game, there's a way into that universe. And I think that's been really special. So I think that's been part of the staying power, not just of the game and then the new iteration of it, but also the staying power of this community. Because the central tenet of the story is the world is worth fighting for, and here is a world worth fighting for, and we can all be heroes because the world needs more heroes. So that uplifting connectivity, that right there, I think is probably the number one reason. That, and it's a really fun game, so that helps. But I think that reach goes far when you include as many people as you do.
Thank you.
You're gonna have to rock, paper, scissors. There we go.
Okay, I'm Dal from Hollywood North News. What do you think of the current state of voice talent, of trying to get into it, on whether there are any challenges and compare it with how it was when you started, I guess?
Oh, what a great question. So, disclaimer is that I have been an actress for 3 decades, and so I was already in the entertainment field when I came into voiceover. So my entree to it didn't necessarily include the phase of training because I had already done so much training in the theater and whatnot. But I think the biggest challenge, I think it's the same challenge that we're finding in all mediums right now, which is that, how do I describe this? Because there are so many names attached to things, and quite often we will pull in, or companies will pull in Hollywood talent, or will pull in movie talent or TV talent. For people who are just starting out, those roles that used to be starting out roles, they're fewer and farther between because everybody's been kind of pushed down a level. The people, like in television, the people who were series regulars are now guest stars, the guest stars are now co-stars, the co-stars are now waiting for, things like that. So I think while there is a tremendous volume of stuff to do, I just think it can be challenging to create your own name in that space. And I would encourage any voice actors who have done the necessary training and they know their craft. That's just the baseline. All of us have to do that. All of us at some point or another have to learn how to act and do that. But I think once you've gotten past that, the business of it is not just be good at your job and be able to fit into things, but creating your own path and really figuring out what makes you unique and what is your voice, not just your actual voice, but what is the voice you speak to the world with? What are the messages that you carry? What are the things that make you you? That is about that is the thing that enables artists to withstand the test of time, I think. Understanding their uniqueness and then figuring out where that lives in any medium. Because otherwise, anyone can step into that, right? And then of course there is the just existential threat of AI that everyone is living under right now, which is a little bit challenging. But I think the answer there, it's obviously a much more complicated question and conversation, but again, I think the answer there is figuring out for each of us what makes us so unique that AI becomes a tool for us rather than competition. If your community who surrounds you knows you, AI can't replace you. They might be able to mimic your voice, they might be able to make it look like sort of you in a video, but they can't replace you as a person. Not yet, thankfully. so that, again, voice actors, artists of all kinds, I think it's the same challenge. It's figuring out and cultivating that piece that makes you uniquely you. Does that answer the question? That was a very long answer.
Say it does.
Okay.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about Critical Role.
Sure.
Your work on the.
I will talk about Critical Role all day if you want to, because I love them.
Your work on Critical Role, I mean, it's such a ridiculously huge thing, that is, and particularly for MCM. MCM, I mean, they filled the main hall. It was nuts there. How is it getting involved in that, and the reaction to your character, and you're obviously a theatre background originally as well. So how does that help in terms of coming, something like Critical Role?
So I was very lucky. Well, I've been very lucky for many reasons, but I began playing D&D when I was 8 years old. So I had the understanding of that sort of improvised storytelling, collaborative storytelling world from a very young age. But then I had a very long period that I call the dark days of gaming, where I just wasn't playing games.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when Overwatch came out, actually, that I met Matt and Marisha. And we started talking about their show that they had just started a little while ago, a few years ago, and I was like, I miss D&D, that sounds so cool. And then Marisha had recommended me to do another show with Geek and Sundry, and had called me up and been like, I think you would like this. And I'm like, yes, I probably would. And that slowly brought me back into the world of tabletop role-playing games. So then, when they called to have me do one of their early film series, it was a no-brainer to say yes first and find out what it is later. And just because it's been so fun, and they are so inviting, and they're so good about bringing new people into the fold, that even though they are obviously this core team that takes care of each other and have been friends forever, whenever you come in, you feel very welcome, and you feel very much like they are embracing you in that project. So the characters that I've gotten to play have just been, what do you want to play, Anjali? It's been that, here's the world, what do you want to play? So they also have been very encouraging of everybody expressing themselves in their unique ways through their own characters, and figuring out what they want to do, because that, I think, is so much, that's part of the joy of tabletop role-playing games, is being able to create the character you want and walk through the universe that way and explore what it's like to be in that character's shoes. And they have, they've done that for so many of us.
Awesome.